community, learning, discussion, respect, integrity, truth, science, and discovery. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I am your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and we are presenting episode 42. The topic, EVP hypothesis. I will let you know, I did check the poll before I live streamed tonight, and it did tie with the Estes experiment or method. So guess what we're going to do next week? We're going to do Estes method on the next My Paranormal Soapbox Tuesday. So don't you worry for all those who voted for it. That will be done right after this one. So thanks for joining us. Feel free to share the stream. Feel free to chat. Please keep it clean. Please keep it respectful. Feel free to cross-chat between Facebook and YouTube. All the comments there are up on the screen. And we're going to have fun talking about one of the things that I've worked the hardest on over the last 6 years. We're going to bring over the girls. Now, you're going to have to excuse Jessica couldn't make it tonight. So her brother Jack is going to be with us. You're going to notice that Jessica sounds different for some reason. Don't know why. But go ahead and say hi, Jessica.
Hello, everybody.
We don't know why she sounds like that. It's so funny. And, of course, we always have Missy with us. Are you girls ready to talk about EVP phenomena?
Yep.
You're ready. No, you're not. You don't care. Okay, so here's the drill. If you've never seen the show and you don't know how it works, please share the stream, like it, subscribe on YouTube, follow Justin Brown Paranormal Research on the blog page on Facebook. If you would like to ask me a question or give me feedback, voice your opinion, please be patient. Put it down in the comment section. The girls will read them off during the show periodically. I will have them do it, every 10, 15 minutes or so. And towards the end, we pretty much go full on engagement with the chat to finish it all up. And thanks for joining me. We're going to go right into the definition of what EVP is. If you look it up in the dictionary, if you ask paranormal enthusiasts, investigators, they're going to tell you that EVP is a voice that can be heard on a recording on playback, but not heard during the time of the recording. Now, that may sound specific, but it's kind of vague, in my opinion, and I'll explain why. Voice recorders versus the human ear do have differences in frequency response and just overall, the recorders just record everything it hears. It's not biased. It doesn't have any, cognition issues. It doesn't have selective hearing. So human ears do. And I will touch on the frequency response. The frequency response of the human ear on average is 20 hertz all the way up to 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz. Most recorders do go by that range since that's the range of hearing, but some of the recorders that I use only go from like 70 hertz up to 20 hertz, sometimes a little bit higher, like 21 hertz. So that's important information to know, and we'll go into it later on when we're talking about the hypotheses for electronic voice phenomena. But the reason why it's important to know that the definition itself is kind of vague is it could be acoustic energy that you're hearing, something that falls in the range of hearing, but we just did not hear it for whatever reason. It could be the decibel level that, it's being set at. That's the microphones on a lot of condenser mics that are found on a lot of the present-day digital voice recorders that are commonly used are way more sensitive, especially to whispery, low acoustic energy. So that could be a reason why you did not hear it at the time. It doesn't mean it's electronic voice phenomena. It just means that it's some type of acoustic energy that you didn't hear, but the recorder did. So I want to you to know that up front, that that's very possible and probably happens a lot more than you would think. There's a couple other reasons why the directionality, the compression waves or the acoustic energies traveling to the ear may be different. It may not be traveling to the ear, it may be traveling to the pickup pattern of the microphone. That could be another reason why the ear did not hear it and the recorder did. So there's a lot of spatial characteristics and a lot of, basic physical mechanics that involve whether you hear or determine whether you hear it or not. Now, when we're talking about legitimate EVP, there are some ideas that people propose, they hypothesize. What is the reason behind not hearing it, but the recorder hearing it? And there's two main ones, and there's a bunch of fringy ones. The two main ones state that somehow electronic voice phenomena is generated by electromagnetic frequencies that interfere with the transducers in the microphone. Another one is that the EVP or the voice is at a different frequency that the human ear can't hear, but the recorder can hear. Now, that I will debunk here in a second. We're going to talk about some other hypotheses I think that are relevant too. A lot of people believe that EVP is a psychic imprint on the recorder itself, either a psychic imprint on the transducer, which is the microphone, or a psychic imprint on the memory, the flash memory, or whatever type memory your recording is. Usually it's flash memory. So that's interesting too. And there's a few other ideas that I won't get into, but those are the primary ones. If you have a hypothesis that I did not name, by all means, put it down there and we'll talk about it. I definitely want to talk about all the ideas that you have if I don't bring them up. But these are the ones I'm going to propose to you tonight. So first off, I'm going to explain why it doesn't deal with frequency. Okay. I don't know why people feel this way, but if something falls below 20 hertz or above 20,000 hertz, we can't hear it, right? If the frequency response is on the recorder is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, it will not pick up or record anything below or above that range. And even if it could, when you play it back, we cannot hear it because we can't hear anything below 20 on average and anything above 20,000 hertz on average. Now, there is a hypothesis that kind of ties in with this frequency theory, but it gets super technical and it's kind of hard to understand. But I will propose this hypothesis because it's definitely possible sometimes. So I think the biggest thing that I would like to teach and convey up front tonight is, myth busting the frequency hypothesis for EVP. It cannot be that. Okay, we just simply cannot hear anything below 20 hertz or above 20,000 hertz. Okay, maybe some people, maybe even younger children that have, when you're younger, the spectrum kind of widens a little bit, and then when you age, it kind of diminishes a little bit. But even if you could hear a little bit below or beyond, you're definitely not going to hear it well, and unassisted at that. So even if you could hear it, maybe if you boosted it, you might be able to hear some things, because some sub 20 hertz frequencies can be heard if you amplify it a lot and get a really nice, good speaker that vibrates. So the compression waves start pushing against the atmosphere to such a degree, it just vibrates and causes physical, things to happen. It can physically vibrate, your inner ear and your body. You can even feel the bass. And high pitch frequencies, if you get them high enough, you can really cause some problems. I think the military even has applications for stuff like that for crowd control. So yeah, here we go. I do not advocate and I do not teach that hypothesis to, people who follow me. And, I want to kind of, leave it there. It's just not a viable hypothesis. But what is viable and what we at Interface Death do research and test as a hypothesis is the EMF theory. Okay, and we'll get into that or after the shout outs because it gets kind of nerdy. I do want to talk about digital aliasing, and there's a certain type of distortion for analog devices. So let me look this up. I'm sorry. So we have digital. Make sure aliasing. Yeah, we have digital aliasing, and I'll explain what that is. And the distortion that happens in analog recorders, it's got another name to it, but for some reason I can't think of it right now. But very few people use analog recorders, but I will explain how that works. Digital aliasing works like this. Okay, let's just say a hypothetical situation. If you had a spirit speaking in 21,000 hertz, okay, of course, we can't hear that. But there are octaves in the frequency. If you go an octave down from 21,000 hertz to 11,000 hertz, there's going to be some subfrequencies there that can be picked up if the sampling rate of the recording device you are using picks up at that sampling rate. Most sampling rates are at 44.1 kilohertz. So that's not possible. But there are some, strange video cameras that I've seen and some recorders that I've seen that do record at, say, 11,000 hertz. And if you have software and a microphone that can pick up, above around the range of 21,000 hertz, theoretically, you can adjust it down to 11,000 hertz and hear some kind of weird muffled distortion, which is called digital aliasing, and you can hear it. You won't hear it with your ear, but you'll hear it on the recording. So if that's happening, you do want to make sure you know the sampling rate, the audio codec, and the sampling rate of the device you're listening to or using to record, because that's important in your research. I just want to throw that out there. It is possible that the technology that we're using is causing us to hear it when our ear can't. And there's some things that could be the cause for that. Now, analog recorders is a little bit different, but it's basically the same. If you have some type of distortion at a higher, sampling rate, you can cause some other things to come through on analog recorders. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go into the deep physics of it now. There is a video out there on YouTube that I shared to everybody about these two things. If you want to see that video and learn more about this process and this hypothesis, let me know in the chat and I will link that video. It's really, really cool. So let's go back over to girls. Now that we've kind of set the groundwork for what EVP is and what the hypotheses are, let's do some shout outs, see if we got any initial questions. Then we're going to go from there. Missy, you want to go first?
Sure. I have Nelson. I have Derek. I have Chad Barr. I have Sandy Griffith. I had Jamie DeMala. Yeah, you know how to say her name. Buster Williams.
That's how I say
Jamie
it.
Hunt. Daniel Everson. And that's about it right now.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. All right. If you have any questions or comments, hold off until we shout out YouTube, and we'll go from there.
Okay, we have Becky Compton, Glenda, Val, Guys, I'm trying to do my job here. A Research, Deity, Craig Williams, John Cool. I don't know what's wrong. And nobody else has commented in it. So is it just you guys or is it over the whole live stream?
Well, I can only say what I hear, so if it comes,
nobody said anything.
If it comes across normal on the stream itself, that's really weird.
She sounds like Emma, is who she sounded like just then.
It's lower than that. But go ahead. I don't want to.
Oh, I'm done now.
Okay. Do we have
I
any?
do have a question.
Okay,
I do have one. Craig Williams wants to know, how do you know if it's not coming from a radio station or a CB radio channel chatter?
If you're talking about, we're just talking about recorders. If you pick up, like, you got simple ones, we use 4-channel PCM high grade recorders most of the time. But if you're talking about just a regular recorder, they don't pick up CB or radio frequencies. It's just not designed to do that. Now, in some instances, for amplifiers, if you have this huge speaker that's being amplified and it's got this huge magnet with a huge coil on the back of it, coils can pick up AM. Okay, so if your recording device has a huge coil on it and it's highly amplified, you can pick up AM through electromagnetic induction, and we will talk about that here in a little bit. So,
okay, I have another one.
Okay.
Can magnetic tapes imprint voices or phenomenon on tapes without having to record?
That's a good question, and that is a theory. Before digital recorders came along, that was the theory, that, some type of magnetic phenomena would imprint the tape. And you don't have to have it in a recorder. You can just throw a tape on the table and just walk away, or stick a tape on the table, and in theory, you can get voices on it. Now, a lot of those have been debunked because there's voices that get copied over or deleted on the tapes. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll ask what's so funny here in a second. And you will hear the ghosting of the voice that was copied over, deleted, that was present there before. But it's perfectly, fine to test this. The best way to test it is to get a tape. Don't even put it on a recorder. Get a brand new one so you don't have to worry about the copy over thing. And just put it somewhere where you think it's haunted, or you get EVPs, and see if it'll get imprinted. That's the best way to test that. So what am I missing out on? Are they talking about your voice?
Moment.
She borrowed Josh Bender's balls for the show and testosterone booster.
I don't know what's wrong. I have no idea.
Question number 1, is Jessica Bias secretly gender neutral?
I'm telling you, because when you played it back, Missy, or when you had this headphone plug, it sounds like that our Snapchat filter. That when you can change your voice, and I have nothing. I have no idea what's going on.
It's got to be Skype doing it.
Well, I'm thinking because I was on originally my Skype, and then I answered, I'm assuming, both calls. So I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with that, but I ended my call underneath my name.
Well, we are using Josh's account, so maybe that's why. Josh is so manly that he changes your voice.
Right.
So yeah, good way to test that theory is to use the tapes, to stick them on the table, throw them in the corner, put them in wherever, and see if you can get an imprint. Now that also goes along with the psychic imprint theory. If you think spirits imprint devices that are digital, what you can do is you can get an external mic of any kind that has a 3.5 millimeter plug, and as long as your recorder accepts a 3.5 millimeter external mic, you plug that in and you just cut the wire. Just leave a bare wire. You can tape it up so it doesn't get messed up, but that way you're pretty much disabling the input. So if the theory is correct, you should be able to get an imprint EVP on that recorder. That should be physically impossible. So if you do want to do that, use 2 recorders, one to record your voice, the other one as a control to, an independent variable to see if you can get an imprint on it. If you do get that, please videotape it and set it up to where you can see it go down. That would be phenomenal. As far as I know, that's never been done. Or never published, if it has. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Can we just let her talk for the whole hour?
No.
Well, I kind of want to talk about EVP a little bit, and then later we'll let her talk for sure.
I know. It's like Derek's having a field day in there.
It's funny. It's really, really funny. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for chiming in. Share this video. Invite people to the stream. We want to get everybody in here. I want to know what their thoughts on EVP is, but we're going to talk about the EMF hypothesis for the moment. Okay. I have been testing the EMF hypothesis for the last 4 years, and so far, the two things that we do test is the electromagnetic induction theory and then the capacitance theory. And here's the two different processes explained. If you take a dynamic mic, it has a coil in it, it's attached to a battery and a diaphragm. The theory is if the magnetic field is what ghosts use or what they're made up of, the theory is that it uses its magnetic field to induce electrons in the coil, which moves the magnet attached to the diaphragm and simulates speech that way. That sounds far-fetched, but it is possible. It is testable. You don't even need a dynamic mic. You can just get a coil. But the theory is electromagnetic induction. The other one is the capacitance theory. Condenser mics, which is what primarily is used in recorders. This is a condenser mic right here. It works. There's two electrically conductive plates, and the compression waves. Sorry, had a brain fart. The compression waves hit the electric plate, and one plate is charged positive, the other one is charged negative. Okay, so if there's any variance in the charge, that creates a signal and is converted into speech. So that's how it records. So the difference between the dynamic and the condenser mic is the dynamic mics are good for like rock and roll and on stage. It's not very responsive, to high-end frequencies. It's more mid and low, and it takes more abuse, okay? You can scream into it, yell into it, and it'll be fine. The condenser mic on the other end is very sensitive. It can be easily broken. The transducer can be easily broken, and it's very good at picking up very soft, very whispery, high detail. And that's why it's used too in vocals, but in the studio where the environment is controlled. And there's a lot more high frequency response to that. So that's why it's good for EVP as well. The theory is the magnetic field carries with it charged particles. The charged particles in the magnetic field where the spirit is can be used to change the charge and the variance of the transducer of the condenser mic. And that's how it creates EVP with these microphones, the condenser microphones. Can this be tested? Yes. Do I have the proper equipment to test these theories? Not exactly. This is what you need. You need an oscilloscope. You need a MagCheck 95 or some type of, mic that has a coil in it that can pick up electromagnetic induction or EMF. And you need to be able to study and analyze these signals and determine whether it's anomalous or not. And that would be super cool. We only need an O-scope and a MagCheck 95 sensor, and we can do it. So, hey, go over to Patreon and help fund us that stuff, and we'll do that research. But we're getting there. Now, what's wrong, Missy? What's
Josh just jumped on. Say hi, honey.
Josh?
Yes.
Hi, Josh.
No, you got to talk. No, that was a little bit too high. Talk normal.
I am talking normal.
Dude, we don't know why Jess's voice is low, so that's really weird. What's up, Joe? Just because she cheated today, had McDonald's, you cheater. I had cauliflower crust pizza. It was good. But yeah, that's the hypothesis we've been testing. It It's very strange. There's other methods too that we can use that I have done. If you have a white noise generator and you kind of fill the room with white noise and use another recorder to record, there has been a time where I have captured a voice that was using the white noise and modulated it. And I believe that's what happened. I cannot prove that's what happened, but that's what it sounded like. What actually happened was we were filming the experiment on a camera. Nothing came through the box, the white noise that was producing the white noise. Nothing came through on the camera, but on a separate recorder, the EVP came through. So, and that would make spirit boxes in theory useful if they were just playing white noise. The spirit box that sweep RF are not very useful because there's no way to determine if what you're hearing is spirit responses or just RF. Okay? There's just no way. You can hear your name being called. You can hold up a cup and say cup and hear cup. All that stuff's great. You know, the color of the shirt, what day it is. Until you know the physical manipulation, you can test the physical manipulation of these things. There's no way to know. So it's based on faith and belief, which is fine, as long as you're not saying that that's proof. The EVP phenomena is something I believe is very real. There's been many, many recordings of it, and I think there's still many, many EVPs that are valid. One thing I will discuss is a psychic imprint that is not so much an imprint. Okay? I do believe that a lot of psychics with abilities can help induce EVP. And this is why I think this. When you have someone like my mother, someone's super, super psychic, go to a location, they can hear things that we can't in another dimension. Okay, we're just going to say it's another dimension. Sometimes these dimensions cross into ours. Sometimes they pull these dimensions into ours. Sometimes our dimension bleeds into that one. Whatever is happening, we still can't hear it because there's some reason that the vibrations in the air that are traveling is not meeting our inner ears somehow. But the psychic is hearing it differently. Okay? Don't know how that is. Is it the pineal gland? Is it something else? I don't know. I don't know if it's the third eye or what it is. But it's called clairaudience in a lot of definitions that I've seen. And a lot of psychics, they'll hear something in a spiritual realm come through to ours. Those can be picked up on audio recorders, and I've done that. You know, the last time I remember doing it was the Monroe House, the hunting on Monroe Street video on YouTube channel. My mom was walking up the steps at Monroe House. She says the entity there is lobbing severed heads down the window, and they're plopping down the stairs, plop, plop, plop. She says to me, "Hey, do you hear that?" I don't hear that. On playback, it's clear as day, plop, 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 plop. No reason for that to be there. So you have to ask yourself, is all EVP generated the same way? I don't think so. I think it could be generated in different ways depending on what's happening. It could be one way too. That's why we do the research. That's why we test these hypotheses and we do the experiments. And the EVP is probably one of the more easier things to do. Sure, you got to battle lack of control in the environment, but you can do things to combat that, like use different independent variables, like different microphones, and try to limit one microphone with the phenomena where the other ones don't pick it up. That's one way to say that that's physically impossible to get that, and that's what we do. We use RVPR Mark III interface death style. So what that is a Roundtree voice phenomena recorder with a EVP or a EMF sensor on it and a shotgun mic that's susceptible to electromagnetic interference. And we plug those into a 4-channel PCM recorder, and we use the stereo condenser mics on to cross-check with the other microphones, see if the EMF sensor picked it up or if the shotgun mic picked it up. We're trying to isolate the phenomena on one and not the others. So that's what we're doing. And if you're doing something similar to that, that's great. If you're taking a cassette tape and throwing it on the table and see if you can get an imprint, that's great too. If you're taking a recorder and you plug, and let's see here, if you plug this into the mic input, if you can use external quarters, cut this, tape it off, hit record. You should get nothing at all. No sound whatsoever. But if you do, you can prove that there's some kind of imprint from something anomalous. You can't say it's a spirit, but you can say that it's physically impossible, and you can define it as paranormal. So I'm interested in seeing what they're saying. Do they have any ideas to throw out there? What's going on in the chat?
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Sandy Griffith wants to know, is the psychic imprint the same as a residual haunting?
Yes and no. Residual hauntings is a theory. The most commonly one that I hear is stone tape theory, where energy that we emanate can be stored in the environment and played back in the environment, like a cassette or a video cassette. Psychokinetic manifestations and psychokinetic phenomena, as far as I am aware, are different. They don't rely on the imprinting of the environment. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they're just present in the environment, and then they can either imprint devices or cause manifestations to your eyes, to your ears. It's the spectrum of those possibilities are much larger. So it could be similar, but it's not the same. What do you think, Missy?
I don't know. I would say it's not the same.
Okay.
I can hear it anywhere from anybody. It doesn't have to be,
So, you hear a lot of things that we don't hear. Sometimes we pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird.
It is weird. But it makes me feel better because it's validation for me, at least.
Absolutely. Jess, do you have anything to add to Sandy's question?
No, I agree with Missy.
Okay. Any questions on YouTube?
No, not really. John just said direct radio voice does not scan.
Direct radio voice does not scan. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was something I think you were talking about previously, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't understand the context or exactly what that means, but please elaborate. Sorry, I don't understand that. Any other cool comments or questions on Facebook or anything? Very surprised.
Derek said that's what she gets for. She's being punished for cheating with McDonald's.
Hey, I had softball practice and then the show.
They put horse tranquilizers in the French fries.
I'll sleep really good tonight then because I had a large. Maybe that's why my voice is different.
See it, Craig. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird because once you think you know what EVP is and how it happens, then you don't, because something else weird happens, and you just are left with more questions than answers. That's how it's been for me. Yeah.
I'm sorry. John said DRV. Look up Annabelle.
Direct radio DRV. Okay.
Yes.
Oops. DRV. Annabelle Cordoso. Annabella, sorry. Okay. See here. This is ITC Journal. The role of noise in EVP. In this third video, Annabelle Cardoso speaks about the role of noise in EVP. The subject had already been touched in video 1, but here it is, analyzed in more detail. Noise appears to be an important element in the formation of the anomalous electronic voices. And this goes along with the theory that you play white noise and it's modulated. So what she's saying is it's modulated noise. This point has been put forward by different researchers who studied the subject in depth. This was the case of Dr. Engineer Carlo Trajna, himself a successful ITC operator and a respected researcher of electronic voices. The Italian scientist performed numerous tests that applied tests that imply demonstrates the postulate. See also Cardoso A electronic voices contact with another dimension 2010. So yeah, I did touch on that. All that is stating is EVP are generated from modulated noise. Jess, are you alive?
Yeah, I'm just trying to read the comments.
Okay.
Between Derek and Josh. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, I hope she's not passed out. So
I'm
yeah,
dying over here.
that is a very viable theory, and I do believe in it, and I have captured EVP that way. So yes, that is very cool that other people are doing that.
Okay, and Becky had a question. What is your thoughts on the I don't know how to pronounce this stuff. I don't want to mess it up. Tascam? The thing that does the live EVP?
Yeah, Tascam recorders.
Okay. Yes. What is your thoughts on that?
What's his thoughts on Tascam, the thing that does live EVP? The official live EVP recorder I've heard of is the RT EVP that Gary Galka made, but you don't have to use a Tascam to do live EVP. Any recorder that you can plug headphones in and listen to the input as it's recording is live. That's what we do. Actually, recording something and playing it back is not the greatest method. Listening to it while it's recording is the best method. So
yeah, Becky says that's the only way she can hear anything. She mentioned earlier that she can never hear anything, but that's one way that she can.
Oh yeah, definitely good thing. She uses radio as the noise. Yeah, John. Here we'll go to YouTube, and we're going to play this for you. And this example was the same exact thing, and we're going to play it again here. Let me unmute my desktop audio, and we're going to go to left monitor here. Let's see here. Bring the left monitor. Okay, and we're going to go to playlists, and we'll go over to here, and we're going to go to here, and we'll go to about right here. Secondly, we'll take a look at a different investigation that involved the death of the client's child. 13 years old, died a few days after the holidays. This past 2013, he was experiencing paranormal activity that he thought might have been involved with his child's, passing. We came in, we set up our equipment, we investigated. We got insane results. Now, unfortunately, I can't release a lot of stuff from this case, but I will release this one bit of evidence that we got just to, give an example of the cutting edge data that we're getting from cases that involve real hauntings, real spirits dwelling in the same vicinity home as living people and interacting with them. So, with that being said, we're going to pretty much look at the ghost box and what the capabilities of the ghost box are. And what those are is ability to produce an ambience of noise, static, whatever you want to call it, for spirits to manipulate in the environment or over the recorder that is to be said, because this particular clip proves that the manipulation did not occur as we were listening to it through the device or over the speaker. On playback, I recorded the playback when we were reviewing the audio at the location. So we hear and see in the WAV file a clear manipulation of the ghost box noise. We were sitting there waiting for it to come across. We didn't hear it live, but on the playback, it's clear as day. And the difference between the two audio files is so extreme that it's undeniable that it's paranormal and that it's something manipulating the sound. So, with that being said, here it is.
Tell your dad that you love him. Let him know that you're here. Tell your dad that you love him. Let him know that you're here.
Do you hear it that time?
Tell your dad that you love him. Let him know that you're here.
I would like to know your... So there you go. Very interesting. Oops. Left monitor. Overlays down to here. So yeah, use noise. Now Nelson had a comment or a question there. You want to read that off, Missy?
I don't see it.
Oh. Nelson says the only issue with listening to your recorder live is that you cannot tell if what you hear had acoustic energy because you hear what the recorder is capturing. Should have someone else with you that is listening with their own ears to compare. We do that. Okay. We always have somebody there listening to compare. And also, if you're using an RVP, our setup, you mark the spot when you do hear something that you think is anomalous and you analyze later. So you say, okay, you heard a voice. You ask if anybody heard it. They say no. You say mark. You go back and listen to it again. If it's only present on the EVP mic, the EMF sensor, if it's only present on the shotgun mic, then you can validate something anomalous there and you can look into it further. So that's how we do it. So yeah, there we go.
John says hers comes through the radio versus from the post recording.
Hers comes through the radio. So in order to validate that and know that it's not RF, you have to rule out that it's impossible for it to pick up any RF at all. So I will have to look into that, John. I'll do a follow-up with you on that, look into it. So the ones I do is modulated on a different device. Do you see Cole? Do you see Cole's comment, Missy?
Yeah, he said, I've just come from a paranormal investigation at a haunted restaurant. It was full of activity. We went live on our Facebook page, Paranormal Undercover.
Nice. Welcome. I have not seen Cole on here, so I wanted to read his comment. We are doing good. I can only speak for myself. I don't know how Jess is feeling. She's kind of low. I think you're muted, Jess.
Keep the jokes coming. It's okay. I'll see you sooner or later.
Echo in the girl's audio. Really? You can hear an echo?
He said it's really bad.
Huh.
Is it both of ours or is it just one?
I don't know. I'm going to have to listen to it on my phone to hear it.
He said it's on both.
I think you're muted, Jess.
Keep the jokes coming.
It is echoing, and I don't know why. You hear that? Oh, it's because the desktop audio is on there. I had to turn the desktop audio on to play the video. I fixed it.
She finally got to hear herself, though.
Thanks for joining us, Cole. Yeah, we're just talking about EVP tonight. I have this show every Tuesday live on the Interface Death YouTube channel and the blog page that you're watching it on. You might have seen this from my timeline when I shared it. So feel free to go over to Justin Brown Paranormal Research and follow that page if you like the show. Check Interface Death out on Facebook. Go to www.interfacedeath.net. We'll plug later. So yeah, that was the first validated modulated voice from a radio type noise that I was able to get. And yeah, it's really, really, really weird why that stuff happens. I would like to hear from the comments if you guys have any experiences or documentation of your own that you would like to talk about. I want to hear if you've done similar things, not just turning on the recorder and think that you got a weird noise. I want to know if you actually test your ideas and find supporting evidence of them or not, and then kind of switch your ideas and test new things out. I want to know what you guys do. So I'll give you a moment to catch up with the delay of this live stream to answer those things, but Cole was the only new one to pop in that I seen.
He said he'd go follow now.
What's that?
He said he was going to follow now.
Sweet.
And Jen Rogue just joined too.
Nice. Hi, Jen. Welcome. All right, so we're talking about EVP, and we're talking about different ways to validate, anomalous voice phenomena. So, what we can talk about real quick is problems that I see with EVP, and we could talk about the DR60 real quick. That is like known as the holy grail of recorders. It's like $1,000 and up, and it's supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread with EVP. And I absolutely cannot stand that device. It's over 20 years old. It's recalled. You can't understand anything that comes from it. The sample rate's so bad. It's voice activated, so you don't know when the voices come across, when they do, between the pauses. It's got a lot of issues. And they think that everything that comes across that wasn't supposed to be there is an EVP. Well, what's happening with that is it's potentially picking up the internal noises of the device, or it's so poorly made that any noise anywhere happening in the environment can be interpreted in any way you can, because the detail that it records at is so low, and that's an issue. I would always advocate that you use the highest grade recorder you could possibly afford and the best mics you could possibly afford in order to get the best detail and the best data you can possible. To say that the DR60 works better because it's so shitty is not a good excuse for using the device. So I can't jump on that wagon. There's a lot of similar recorders that people use because they can't get the DR60 that are just as bad. Any old recorder that sounds like garbage should not be used. But there are recorders that do produce a little bit of noise, which could help in the production of EVP in theory. If you get a recorder and calling Earth, I'll write that down, John. If you get a really good recorder that sounds clean and you set it next to a recorder that has some noise, you can test whether the recorder has noise, picks up some modulated voices from the noise. Calling Earth. Got it. Yeah, there is no Necromancer tomorrow, guys. Necromancer is on hiatus. We'll talk about that at the end, too, to remind you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Becky. But I will be throwing extra live stuff in and extra content in to kind of fill the void. But it won't be the Necromancer show. We're going to take a step back. We're going to probably only do Necromancer every 2 weeks. when it does start back up, and we're going to do different things. We're going to interview people that are doing live ghost hunts. We're going to bring in psychics to do readings. We'll do all kinds of different new things. We'll do experiments in the field on Necromancer Live. We'll team up with other paranormal groups, and it's going to be really cool. So the wait will be worth it, I think. So, anything else going on that I have not seen? Chat. No?
Well, Cole was off subject. He wanted to know your opinion on orbs. Derek told him to look it up on YouTube. He thinks that there's a video on your orb theory.
I do think that we covered orbs on the show, right?
I don't remember.
If I haven't, that's got to be voted on, right? Let's look.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I don't remember either.
And I thought I closed out on something. I was like, oh, I think I must have fixed it. And I guess not.
It's not fixed.
It's all right.
Okay. Thermal camera, science, soapbox, the mind, drama, spirit boxes. I think we covered it a little bit on the spirit photography episode. I'm trying to here. I can find that one somewheres. I think. Oh, it's not. That one's on YouTube. It's not on Facebook. So I'm going to have to go. I'll link it to you later, Cole. But basically, orbs are not paranormal. Sorry. It's dust particles, airborne particles, illuminated by the camera flash or the infrared light or whatever light you're using right in front of the lens. It has been debunked. All right, so anything else popping in here, Becky? Oh, they are talking about orbs on Facebook. I had someone show me her orb catch the other day along with her boyfriend's ass.
Still happen to be in the same picture.
Wow. I bet that lowered Becky's vibration.
She said it was a bug. I didn't even tell her. So hopefully that lady's not watching.
Yeah, orbs can be bugs too. if you get a bunch of light reflecting off the bug. Heather Elliott, I think you're right. I think spirit photography, I did touch on it quite a bit. Yeah, Nelson built an RVPR for $340. That's actually pretty good. That's not bad at all. I think when I built one, it was like $500. So that's a good price. I do have a video on the RVPR Mark II. I do need to update the tutorial on the RVPR Mark III. And I want to do upgrades to the Mark III too. If we can get a MagCheck 95 and an oscilloscope, we're definitely going to upgrade to that. That is me and Paul Browning's next step in EVP research when it comes to analysis of the signals that we're getting. And I'm sure Nelson and Heather both would be interested in that when that comes out. But Nelson, if you want to beat me to the punch, what you need is a MagCheck 95. They're like $150, I think, the last time I checked. There's a website that sells it. I think I can find it for you later if you remind me. You get a splitter, a BNC splitter that you can attach to the MagCheck 95, so it'll split off to the Tascam recorder, and one will split off to the oscope. So you can get a signal to both of those devices and analyze all the EMF coming in through the MagCheck 95 in real time and get real-time data that way. And that's what we want to do. That's our goal. So if you want to build something like that, let me know. I'll help you out if you need it. Sorry, I'm back. I think Jessica swallowed a voice changer.
Wow.
Craig. Calling you out. New sexy voice. You definitely, you sound straight up like a tranny. I'm sorry if that's insensitive. You kind of like men who have the hormone therapy and it messes with her voice really bad. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
The laugh is even different, I swear.
It's like so. It's the most awkward silence ever. Silence ever. He's like, he said tranny on live. My God. Hate campaign. What's up, Marilyn? So we're winding down. It's been an hour already, I know. But have you learned anything about what I think on EVP? I hope so. Girls, do you have anything to add on the topic that you've been just waiting to say this whole time?
No, I don't.
No.
What was that, Jess?
I said no, I don't.
It got deeper.
Yeah, if something, helium makes it high, so you inhaled something to the exact opposite.
Actually, I think Jamie, she actually said what that would be if I would. It was two big long words that there were no way I could pronounce that.
I missed that comment.
Josh actually said that sounds dangerous.
Probably is. So yeah, okay, gang, we're going to wind it up if there's no other comments or questions.
Sulfur hexafluoride?
No idea.
That's what it is. Close enough. So yeah, thanks for the cool feedback, guys. Thanks, John. Cool for the new information I get to look up now. I always look forward to someone throwing that stuff out to me. Nelson and Heather had some cool things. Becky Compton, thanks for all the questions. That's what I really want. I want to interact with you all. So I'm going to wrap it up, girls. We're going to go over here to the links that you see. If you want to check out our paranormal research that Interface Death does, there's our website. The links are in the video description and the cards on YouTube, interfacedeath.net. You can follow Justin Brown Paranormal Research on Facebook if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow Interface Death on Twitter and get updated on everything we do. You can follow Interface Death on Instagram. Check out all the cool photos on there that we take. If you want to support the show financially and get rewarded, as little as $1 a month. If that interests you, we'll talk about more of that in a second. It's patreon.com/support Interface Death. If you're watching on Facebook and want to subscribe to our YouTube channel to check out all our cool videos all in one place, please check that out in the link as well. Patreon is what makes this possible. Without the supporters you see on the screen, we just would not be here week in, week out. We would not produce the video production and the video content that we do. So again, thank you very much, Clay Borman, RJ Murphy, Scotty Fox, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Bill Davis, Joe Vitelli, Heather Elliott, General Rogue, Craig Williams, Cherry Capital, Shadow Seekers, and the Ghost Guild. They make it happen. They make it worthwhile each and every week when I do this. Thank you very much. Please check out Patreon if you want to see this content stay. We would appreciate that very much. And I'm going to leave it there. No Necromancer tomorrow. No Supernatural Symposium right now. I'm trying to get Portals of the Past done. Trying to get the 5th episode at Randolph County Infirmary done by this weekend. So please keep an eye out for that. Patreons, you will see an early release before anybody else of that episode. So keep an eye out on Death Trippers for that. If you are not on Death Trippers on Facebook and you are a Patreon supporter, I will get it out to you somehow, some way. What are these links I'm seeing here? Oh, Nelson's got linking the stuff for the RVPR. Thank you. So I'm going to leave it there. You guys have a good night. If you have not watched this show before, you want to stick around and see some video promotion at the end, please do so. I'll see you guys next time. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness. Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good. wandering around somehow.
We know you're here.
What was that?
I heard it.
That was downstairs. Are you down there? Not afraid. We know what it feels like to walk in the darkness.
Are you in this room over here? What the fuck, dude?
Whoa.
That's weird.
You didn't do anything, right?
No, I just turned.
Justin too close.
No,
No,
I
he opened that door and it went off.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you just run out of there?